I love putting LED lights on my bike, and this kit from Ciro3d, their Shock and Awe 2.0, it's gonna be really awesome. We're gonna install it on the 2016 Harley Davidson Road Glide Ultra today. It's the last day of COVID vacation for me, so I'm kind of just putzing around this morning and I'm feeling motivated. So a day that you feel motivated is a great opportunity to take on a project like this. We're going to get into that, but there's one other thing I want to do first. I want to talk to you about Invisivin. Now, these guys also came on for the Road Glide refresh project, and this is the thing, and I'm going to show you exactly what this is for, how it works, and all that. Let me take you over to the bike. This VIN sticker is horrible. It's super ugly. Now, granted, if you ride in something with a lower fairing like my Road Glide Ultra here, it's a lot less noticeable than it is on a bike without the lowers, but it's still there, and I still see it. And I apologize, because if you didn't notice it on your bike before, you're gonna notice it all the time now. It is just an ugly, ugly thing, and it doesn't look good. And every little detail matters when it comes to our motorcycles, all right? So, introducing the Invisivin. These guys came along, and they created this just half tube piece of super heavy metal with very, very strong magnets inside. The magnets are covered in this like felt here, so they're gonna protect your bike and not scratch things up. But watch how easy it is to go from that VIN to no VIN, just like that. That is really super clean. That covers up your VIN, and if you live in a place where you need to have access to it, you can just easily remove it. So it's just a little touch, you know, it's just a little thing to help clean up your bike. Keep your motorcycle ready and worthy of those Instagram pictures. So these guys, I'll have their link down in the description of the video. Steel powder coated cover, strongest N52 magnets, removable for inspection. Simple packaging, good little company. Order up an Invisivin magnetic cover, slap it on, you're good to go. All right, so let's get into the Shock and Awe 2.0 kit. I'm going to show you everything I've got and what comes in the boxes. All right, so starting things off, we've got the main system, the Shock and Awe 2.0 LED light kit with Bluetooth controller. We're adding the LED fork illuminators. We've got the Shock and Awe expansion kit. This is going to go underneath the saddlebags. And then this is a 22-inch wire extension kit. Let's go ahead and get things opened up right away. We're going to start with the main kit. This is your starter kit. So to get started, you use the starter kit. This is the main bit that you need. And then you can start with this and add on in the future, or however you want to do it. So you got your wire harness and your Bluetooth controller. And then we've got all these little light pods, just little LED light strips. And then your various wire extensions and your goodie bag of everything that you're gonna need to get going on that. And after we get this all installed, of course, I'm gonna show you how the app works and all that for the Bluetooth controller. It's gonna be pretty awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and open up this packaging as well, because I just wanna be able to get everything laid out so I can see exactly what's going on and where I want to put everything. Got some hardware for this one. Zip ties, fender bolts, and of course nuts and washers. And then in the package that came with your main kit, a little bit of heat shrink tubing, 3M sticky pads here for the back of some of these wire management clips, and one of these posi tap connector. These work with zip ties, so you stick them wherever you want and just run your zip tie through, and you can secure your wiring with that. Let's get these opened up. Now these all look to be the same length, so you get 9 3-inch LED flex pods. You get 3 of the Y splitters. Why splitters? Because Ciro loves you. 6 of the 8-inch wire extensions. These are the Y splitters and wire extensions that came with the add-on kit. And then where we need it, or if we need it, I'll open up the 22-inch extension wires here, wire extensions. There's 2 of them in this kit as well. Okay, so starting to feel overwhelmed, but it's time to get into it. It's time. First thing I'm going to focus on is where I'm going to get some of this mounted and where I'm going to start my wiring. But you'll notice there's 3 plug and play connectors on here. You can run 3 separate channels, so you just have to kind of decide if you want your whole bike to light up the same color, or if you want the option to have 3 designated areas for different colors. And I think just to give myself the options and have a little fun, I'm going to do 3 separate areas of the bike. So I think I'll do the lights under the bags, and then I'll kind of do the main engine lights, and then I'll be able to do the front fork lights a different color. So I think I am gonna do all 3. This red wire is to hook up to your brake wire if you choose to do that. And then in essence, what's going to happen is when you hit your brakes on your Harley, then the whole system's going to light up red. So basically all the lights on your bike are going to be a brake light, which is a safety thing. You'll have to find out in your state or the areas you ride if that's legal, or if you think you can get away with it or not. This is your controller. This is your Bluetooth controller. Of course, your power and negative cable. So on my bike, I'll be running the power wire to my power distribution module from Row Electric, and I'll be running the negative cable to the negative terminal on the battery. So we need to be able to get to all of that to get started. I'm going to get everything kind of laid out approximately where I want it, and then we'll test all the LED strips and see how it goes. Ooh, that wind is just blowing out there today. Winter storm, winter storm. We've got the 3 different channels set up, and from here we're able to really start getting things kind of laid out the way we want, right? So we know these long ones are going to go underneath the bags. We know these are going to go on the front forks. So they're showing to go a Y splitter right off the bat from one of these channels. And we're going channel 2 will be mid-frame. So we're doing 2 pods underneath the seat. Alright, so for most of these, I'm just going to temporarily zip tie them in place, and I'll just use these yellow zip ties so they're easy to see and cut when we're ready to mount them permanently. But this is just going to give me an idea of where everything is going to sit. Some of them we won't be able to zip tie, we'll have to use tape or whatever, but for these, of course, that'll be easy to do. So I've got zone 1 going to the back of the bike. Zone 2 is going to be the engine area, so I'm going to run a Y splitter and then 2 pods off of that Y splitter, and I'm going to mount those, I think, just on the inside of this. But we will see how it looks. And of course, make sure that we can reach both sides from where this Y splitter is. This side reaches no problem, but this side is tight, so I think I can use an extension on this one. Alright, so this actually gets a little bit tricky, like it's hard to get good camera angles and things like that, so I don't know if I'm doing a really great job of showing you guys where I'm putting the lights or how I'm going to try to run the cables or anything like that. So I'm just going to kind of get after it and figure out placement, and then I'll show you guys kind of how I ended up doing it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So that's my plan. That's the best plan I can come up with right now. I want to get these installed, the LED fork mounted illuminators. So we're going to go ahead and tackle that, because that's going to give me an idea how much wire I need to run and all that, and kind of just how I want to do things here. So what we're going to do is, and I've got the Ciro lower fork covers on obviously here. So we've already got longer bolts, and these new ones might be even longer. But we're gonna undo these. And then put in the longer ones. I'm just gonna repeat that on the other side. And this is just going to mount on the back side of this, but we want to put a washer on each bolt first, and then we'll put the bracket on over those, and then another washer, and then our lock nut. And yeah, it's not easy to see what you're doing in here. And then we're going to be tightening that down, but I want to get this wire pulled through here. And I think I'm going to take it up between the fender, and of course I'll be running this wire along the brake line, as we do, right along with that cable that I ran from the fork lowers. But we can at least get this plugged in now and see what it's going to look like, which I always like to do. Yeah, that's going to be cool. So now we just need to tighten these down. All right. Repeat on the other side. Up removing the gas tank, originally just so I could run the wires through this channel for the front forks. I've got a Y splitter up there, so one goes to the left, one goes to the right, and that's going to work out really well. So as long as I had the tank off, I decided rather than mounting the pods underneath the tank to make it easier for when I want to remove the fuel tank and whatnot, I just went right onto the frame of the bike. So they're actually pretty much right next to each other, especially these front two. And they might not shine down on the sides of the motor as much, but I think hopefully it'll be all right. That install complete. I'm going to show you how to use the app and all that coming up. I know there wasn't much talking in this video. It's going to be a lot of sped up footage with music over it, but it really was a job that I couldn't get the camera in to a lot of these spaces very well. So hopefully you were able to see kind of where I put the lights and things like that. And we can go over that. If you have any questions about the install or anything like that, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll do whatever I can to help answer those questions for you. But let's take a look at the lights. I'll screen record the app so you can see what's going on, and we'll kind of go over some features of the Shock and Awe 2.0 kit from Ciro3d. I mounted the controller on the left side underneath the seat. So the round button on top, which is a soft button, will turn your lights on and off. You can also hold this button for 3 to 5 seconds to put it into sleep mode. In sleep mode, you won't be able to use the Bluetooth controller. This shuts off connectivity to the Bluetooth and helps preserve battery life. You can just tap the button to get out of sleep mode. Now, your first click of the dial adjusts the brightness. Click the button again and turn the dial to change the color of your lights. Press it again to go into flashing mode, and you can turn the dial to adjust the speed at which it flashes. Number 4 is paint mode, where it'll cycle through the colors. And again, changing the dial will adjust the speed to which the colors change. And the final click will set it to whatever the last color that you had set in the app. So that's what the physical controller can do. Now I'll start a screen recording on my phone and go into the Ciro app. Now, when you open the app, if you swipe from the right, it's going to bring up your selected device. So we can pair it to the Wi-Fi signal or the Bluetooth signal of the Bluetooth controller. Here we can select channels 1, 2, and 3. You can select all 3 if you want, or you can select just one at a time. The cool thing about this is, remember, I set up zones. So channel 1, which is under the bags, adjust the color under the bags for zone 1. So say we want that to be green. Then we can open and select channel 2 and turn off channel 1. And maybe we want that to be yellow. And then we can switch to channel 3 off of channel 2, and maybe we want that to be blue. So now we have 3 different colors set on the bike with the 3 zones, which is kind of a cool feature. We can also switch to constant or flash or breathe for each channel. And you can adjust the sliders. Let me get back to channel 2 here. We can adjust the sliders to adjust color. And you see everything we do on the slider affects things that are going on the screen there. So it's very customizable. It's pretty intuitive. It really is pretty intuitive. There's a race mode in case you're into racing. So we switch to race mode, hit the start button, and you'll see since we're not moving, it's just going to go through the yellow and then the green. This is when you go, and when you get to the distance set, then it will turn red when it's time to stop at the end of the quarter mile or whatever you want to go with. We'll stop that. There is music mode. I don't have any music on this phone. Everything's in other apps.
Before we start today's podcast, we are going to dive deep into the pages of Urban Dictionary.
Little 5 dirty bikers there.
That's funny. Everyone just claps things once. They're like,
Peter McKinnon, my boy Pete. So that's just some options there. We need to get our channel 2 back here. There we go. I like that blue. I like the blue. You can go with microphone, and then if you've got some music playing, it's gonna go with the beat of the music, which is pretty legit. I don't have any copyright free music, or I would actually try this out for you. Now notice that this is just affecting channel 2 because that's what I've got switched on. If I wanted to select channels 1, 2, and 3 and then go back into microphone, now they're all working. But obviously they all changed colors back to whatever's going on in this mode. There's 4 modes here. You can select mode 1. You can change the color for mode 1, and that's going to look just like this. There's a threshold color, not for this one apparently. You can adjust the sensitivity for how well the microphone picks all this stuff up. Mode 2 looks a little more like this. Here we can change the threshold color. So if it peaks, it's going to give us a green, and otherwise it's just going to flash red. Mode 3, they'll not let you choose, but there's different intervals here for what it's doing. We can also adjust the sensitivity as well. And then mode 4 doesn't let you pick a main color, but it does let you pick a threshold color. So again, if I talk really loud, it's going to turn red. Otherwise, it's going to stay with these colors here, whatever it chooses for intervals 1 through 10. So this is the first one, and that changes color as it responds to voice or audio, sound of any sort. And you can just go through these, and each one's going to be a little bit different, effect. So this app is really cool, very intuitive, and gives you a lot of options for what to do, for what you want it to do. So we're going to change zone 1 to green. We're going to change channel 2 to blue. I like that blue. And then we'll change channel 3 to what, like orange or something? Whatever color you want. Red? Let's go red. There we go. So now if you close out of the app, this is the 5th setting on your hard controller now. So when you click through 5 times, it's going to take you to whatever setting you last left on the app. And then just to show you, I've also got this connected to the brakes. So every time you hit the brakes, the whole system is going to turn red. So it's just, and it doesn't matter if the light's on or off. We'll go ahead and turn off the lights. And when you hit the brake, the whole system lights up red. So it's just another source where people can see what you're doing. So essentially the whole bike just kind of turns into a brake light, which is kind of a nice feature. And that's not affected by your signals or anything like that. Only the brakes. Not to look at the Ciro Shock and Awe 2.0 kit. Pretty excited to have this thing on my bike. I'm a geek for LEDs. You guys probably know that already. Now, these aren't something I can run all the time. You do have to be aware of the area that you're riding in, whether or not that state has any laws against LED accent lighting. I'm of the belief that there shouldn't be any laws against LED accent lighting. I feel like as long as it's not flashing like emergency colors and stuff, and you follow the laws of, you know, not using red or blue or emergency colors, especially flashing or strobing or anything like that, I feel like the more visible you are, the better, the safer you are. I think that LED accent lighting should be legal everywhere, but it's just not the case. Here in Minnesota, it's kind of hit or miss. It's hard to actually find what the actual law is on LED accent lighting. Some states are pretty gray, I guess, about that kind of stuff. I've talked to police here in town, and even they're not entirely sure. They just said that they won't be bothered by it as long as I'm not using emergency colors and flashing and things like that. So I am able to use it around town. Usually I'll only have them on like if I'm sitting in a parking lot hanging out with friends talking or whatever. It attracts some attention. People think it's cool. I think it's cool. So that's that. So I do like having an LED accent light kit on the bike. And I'm super excited to have this one. That was a full day. I really wanted to do a good job hiding the wiring. I still have a little bit of cleanup to do, but you saw me remove the gas tank, everything all the way down into the wiring, and so I could really run the wiring as clean as possible. And I've got a little bit of tidying up to do. I've got plenty of these little clips left that Ciro included, so I'll be able to tidy that stuff up, but just didn't get around it today. I'm really happy that I ended up running the lights underneath the frame of the bike instead of the tank. That way, if it ever comes to a point where I need to remove the tank for something, I don't have to worry about disconnecting lights and things like that. Everything's run really nice and clean. Now, you choose to run the lights however you want on your bike. That's completely up to you. There's plenty of pieces in the kit for wire management, so you feel free to do it however you want to do it. I have spent a lot of time recently redoing all of the wiring on this bike because I want it to look as clean and professional as possible. So when I was doing this stuff today, I just thought, you know what, like, I'm gonna take the extra steps. I'm gonna really hide these wires good and make sure everything's safe and secure and well hidden. So that's kind of been my goal. I've done a ton of wiring on this bike with lights and different things and running, you know, the new wire harnesses and stuff. And it's been an absolute mess for like 6 years. So taking the time now to really do it right and make it professional, I think I'm getting a better eye for it. And anyway, that was kind of my goal with this one. You might not want to take your whole bike apart, and that's completely fine. It's totally optional to do it how you feel that you want to do it. That's going to do it for this one, you guys. Stay safe out there as always. I thank you so very much for checking in here today. We will catch you in the next video from Touring Midwest. Peace.